lost his edge. He had run up huge gambling debts and become addicted to cocaine. His life was peopled with shysters, thugs, and killers, and, if the truth were known, Lee himself had become little more than a highly paid functionary in Jimmy's inchoate gang of smugglers. That's what really hurt. Lee had become one of Jimmy's drones. For months, Lee had been unable to shake the feeling that something uncontrollable had broken loose. The madness peaked in November, when two men in a van sprayed Prosecutor James Kerr's car with buckshot and .30 caliber bullets. Federal agents showed up at Lee's office the following morning to question him about the unsuccessful assassination attempt. They even confiscated Lee's gun collection. Lee was mortified. "If someone had tried to kill me," he asked one FBI agent, "would you be questioning James Kerr?" He already knew the answer. The entire criminal investigative apparatus of the federal government had targeted Lee for extinction, and they wouldn't stop until they got him. On the plane from Tucson, Lee sat next to a lawyer who worked for one of El Paso's establishment firms in one of the high-rise glass towers that dominated the downtown district of the border city. The lawyer mentioned that he sometimes looked down at the office complex that Lee was remodeling and experienced pangs of envy. "You've got everything I always dreamed of having," the lawyer said. Lee snorted with pride. The other lawyer couldn't appreciate the irony, but until that moment Lee had always envied him. The new office was a show of faith, or at least tenacity, and it made Lee feel good to know that someone else appreciated it. His staff had completed the move while he was in Tucson, and in the morning he would officially take possession. It would be his first day there, and, as fate decreed, his last. Joanne and two of their 5 children met Lee at the airport. They had a surprise for him: a new Lincoln limousine with a portable bar, a TV, a stereo, and even a secret compartment to conceal his guns and gambling paraphernalia. It was the perfect vehicle for the black striker. Lee hadn't been to Las Vegas more than once or twice since a disastrous fling a year earlier when he lost nearly $500,000. But when he returned, he would go in style. Joanne had bought the limousine on impulse. "After 19 years of marriage," she said, "I wanted to do something crazy." She was a slender, attractive woman with the dark features and perfect creamed coffee complexion shared by nearly all the Syrian women in El Paso. Lee's passions for women, gambling, and general recklessness would have destroyed most marriages, even among the Syrians and Lebanese, whose culture conditioned wives to this code. But Joanne's patience and love had forced it to endure. Lee was so wired on cocaine that he hardly touched his dinner as he talked nonstop about the victory in Tucson. It had been months since anyone had seen him so animated. It was like old times. Sometime in the middle of the night, after everyone else was asleep, Lee changed clothes and drove to his new office complex. At that hour there was little traffic along Mesa. He stood on the street, admiring the enormous oak door and the white Mediterranean wall that slanted up and away from the second-floor balcony connected to his private office. From the street, you could see the palm tree and a corner of the balcony's striped awning. The only sign on the building was a small gold plaque with his name and occupation. The building might have contained a small, elegant restaurant or a foreign embassy. Lee unlocked the door and walked upstairs to his office. He unlocked the door to his private bath. The money was where he had stashed it, in the canvas tennis bag under the sink. There was a steel floor safe sunk into 5 feet of concrete, but like the other safes in the complex, it hadn't yet been completely installed. Lee counted out $75,000 from the stash and slipped it into his coat pocket. As he pulled off the exit ramp above the truck stop on IH-10, Lee could see the Indian's car parked in the shadows behind some 18-wheelers that idled in the pre-dawn chill. The Indian brushed a strand of limp hair over his bald spot as he approached Lee's car. He wasn't a man most folks would